folks. This is Chris Wyatt reporting from South Africa. Tuesday, August 6, 2024. Welcome back to the program, folks. I hope you're having a lovely day wherever you find yourself around the world. But it's a bat crap crazy day once again in South Africa. South Africa, Mzansi, Azania. It is a bat crap crazy day. We saw yesterday that this wackadoodle pastor who once upon a time told women to come to his church to throw their panties and thongs at him, really did that back in 2019 or thereabouts. This guy, Pastor Paseko Mboro, this lunatic, his behavior is lunatical, had some thugs go to a church, or not to a church, these thugs from his church went to a primary school and abducted two children who were the orphans of a woman who died recently, I guess a member of his parish, took the kids, AK-47 pungas, and then terrified the neighborhood, threatened people who tried to stop him from abducting the children. And today, school learners marched on his church and torched it. Vigilantism. Well, it's crazy. And speaking of bat crap crazy, Kamala Harris busy trying to pretend she's not a far-left, radical, lunatic, racist, anti-Christian, anti-white wackadoodle, trying to pretend she's not that, with the makeover that she's getting with no cackling and just simply not talking about policy issues. And what does she do? She picks a radical Minnesota leftist lunatic, Tim Walz, to be her running mate. You can't make this stuff up, folks. It's actually happening around the world as we speak. Bat crap crazy. Anyway, welcome back to the program. Hope everybody's well. Let's say hello to folks in the chat before we get into news today. My apologies for the late start. I rescheduled the time till quarter after the hour because I was busy producing a video on the very topic we just talked about. Now, the one piece of footage I did leave out of that video because I was pressed for time was where the people tossed their panties. So maybe I should show you that on this program. If you're interested, let me find that very quickly. It's an old video, but it's here. Oh, here it is. So here's the old video of him. It was published in 2019. I don't know if it actually occurred in 2019, but this is him a few years back. So he's got women tossing their panties and thongs at him. What a sick individuals. Look at that, waving their panties and underwear. Tawnies, grannies.
You like what I'm doing or not?
You like what I'm doing? No, I don't like it. You're a sick, disgusting, twisted individual, buddy. Something wrong with you. You know, that's not the role of pastors to get people to toss their panties and thongs and fling them in the air. What the heck is going on here? Is this Vegas? Is this a porn scene? Or is it a religious gathering? Well, these people give Christianity a bad name. John Huchin in from Arizona, Ron in from Bloemfontein, Myra Page, James Bowie, Pierre Orban, Victor Orban's distant cousin, Sue Walsh, Loudy Monday in from Howick. Icono's back. Emeritia Diedrichs, welcome to you. And Ants, hey Ants, how are you? Monray Siebert, Steve Barham, Chris Ehlers, Hester Coates, a Grasshopper, Garrett Gillage, Sandy Hunt, welcome. Sandy, how are you? I hope your book is going well. By the way, folks, did I tell you, I'm sure I did tell you, what a lovely lady Sandy is. She contacted me out of the blue and asked me if I would narrate her books. And her book, she said. And I did. I gave it my best shot. I think that was a pretty good narration, the one that was down on the Vaal River. You know, the toilet bowl for the Free State, the Vaal River. But narrated the book. That was fun. I had a good time. It was kind of chilly that morning, too, by the way, winter time. And she invited me to out for a bite to eat in Cape Town. We went out for a bite to eat in a lovely place with fantastic, famous burgers, but very weird staff. The Democrats like to use that word, weird. They were weird. Sandy, a lovely lady who's had a very interesting history. She's a children's book author, and she does a really good job. But yeah, so Sandy, how's it going? Thanks for being here. Vilma Erasmus, Myra Page, Charmaine. I've never even inquired whether I pronounce her name correctly, so I just say Charmaine. Because enough Arkansas get confused. Smee again is back again. And then who else we got? Robert Rankin. Hey, Robert, how's it going? Janet Liddy's here from, I almost said Arizona, from South Carolina. Hendo is back from the UK. Bat crap crazy UK. As, what what's her name likes to say, our friendly neighborhood conservative there from the UK. She calls it back crap crazy UK. She's right. It's out of control. So the press are running a full court story that extreme right racists are rioting in UK. Well, they are. But so are armed Islamic fascists running around the street, radicals with scimitars and sticks and knives, threatening the public, assaulting white people, and the cops and the media saying nothing about it. Nothing about it. It doesn't even get any coverage. But Keir Starmer is going to go after a right-wing conspiracy, right-wing domestic terrorist. We're going to talk about that story quite a bit today. Ladies and gentlemen, if one group is a domestic terrorist, then the other group doing the exact same thing as domestic terrorists. Also, the government coming out and saying that their job is to protect mosques is quite frightening. Quite frightening. If there's a threat directed against a particular place, then the state has a role or responsibility to help prevent that. But just blankly saying they're protecting mosques, are you protecting churches and synagogues? Are you? Are you protecting young prepubescent and pubescent English girls from being groomed and raped and pimped and sold as sex slaves by South Asians? Are you doing that, UK police? I'm just curious. One's an offense, the other's an offense. You need to apply the rule of law equally here. All right, Nick, Muller, Janet, Azriel. Welcome, Azriel. Slippery Pickles back again. Main screen turn on. What's that? Arc Precision here. And who else we got there if I'm missing? That was all before we started. Grasshoppers here. And Annette Beckett. Welcome, Annette. Who else we got there? John Huchin in from Arizona. Apartheid crap will be blamed for their latest behavior. Jeanette, welcome to you. Ulrich Fenta. And then we've got Teresa's here. I don't think I call Teresa. PK's back. Marilyn Bergershaw. Hey, Marilyn, how you doing? My host extraordinaire. And the whiteboard alt filtrationist says, good evening to everyone. Miss Pumbaa's back again. Always a pleasure to see Miss Pumbaa. Jax is here. Hey, Jax. Ernst. And if I missed anybody, Cabello Quacha, welcome to you. Early today I was busy in my yard doing grass. Okay. All right. Good to see you there, Cabello. And if you live for a cause, you will have to take accountability if you die for it. It ends with you. Well, that's interesting. Katie Hopkins, thank you. Batshit bonkers. That's it. Batshit bonkers. That's what she says. That's Katie Hopkins. Thank you very much for that. Nick Groves still here just watching on the TV. Matthew Dixon's in. Laura Southern had a great stream about the UK riots. Will she be banned from the UK as well? She can't go to South Africa, apparently. It's insane that people are so willing to promote hate and harm themselves and others. It is, PK. Absolutely. No matter where they sit in the political spectrum, it's crazy. Why are they not calling anti-foreigner sentiment in the UK xenophobia like in South Africa? Good question. That's a good question because it is xenophobic. You are correct about that. That's a good point to make there. Nick Groves is saying hello to everybody. London's burning down. Yeah. All right, folks. 63 likes already. 117 viewers. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for all the folks who've popped back in the program. I haven't been here for a while. It came in recently. And for those who are new to the program, always a pleasure to have you join us here on the program. I was thinking about doing a poll. Yesterday we had an interesting day. We had Vanet Dutoy popped in here, and so we're going to do a Fireside of the Colonels next Monday. And Ronaldo Khus popped in the program too. Ronaldo was in here. And at the same time, I was chatting with Byron Shepard from Morning Shot and also chatting with Big Daddy Liberty. Sile Nkubisi. That was quite a busy day while we were on the stream yesterday. Today, I don't think I'll be commenting with or content on those. But I do have a breaking story for you. Not breaking, but I think you might find it interesting. So I'm just going to mention this now. Let me get it up here real quick. I've got to bring it up on the screen so you can see it. This is the new segment, okay? Tomorrow we start a new segment, and I hope you like it. Just to share this with you, this is the latest. Remember, we got Fireside with the Colonels. We had to answer the question with Rob Hutchinson, but Rob is on hiatus, so we haven't done that in a year. But Fireside with the Colonels, answer the question. Kanako, I can't seem to get anybody to do Kanako with me lately. That's kind of frustrating. What else? What other segments do we have? That's those three segments we have. And we also have, this is the latest segment. This will be a episodic program. And tomorrow, this is what you can see on the program. We're just dotting down the time right now based on a calendar. So here you go. Here's the latest segment on Chris Wyatt Reports. What do you think? What are your thoughts? Anybody want to jump in there? That's what we got tomorrow. The show is called Iconic with Canthan and Chris. Oh, I really like that font. I wasn't sure about that font, but now that I see on the screen, that's a cool font. And Canthan Pillay and Chris Wyatt going to be talking about politics in South Africa and the U.S. tomorrow. Yeah, what do you think? All right. Iconic with Canthan and Chris. That could be a really cool segment. So that's what we're going to do tomorrow. I haven't posted it yet, but I have made the banner, as you can see, and that's the banner we go with. It's a new show, Hendo. That's correct. He says, iconic. Is it because both you are old? Are you looking to get spanked again there, Matthew? That's right. And Katha and I, there's things we don't agree on. That's what's going to make it fun. You know, when you're always in agree with someone isn't always the best. But Kathan and I have some disagreements. And he likes to pick on the U.S. when I'm not around. You ever notice that? He goes in Big Day Liberty, he's always picking on the U.S., saying bad things about the U.S. Let's see how he does on my program. We'll probably both say bad things about the U.S. Dylan will be there. Cool beans. Yeah. Anyway, so that's pretty cool. Yeah. Looking forward to that. Debbie caught up with, the Richard Wilkinson conversation is gone over very popular, although it died pretty quickly, but it's streamed. I mean, that has been the most successful post live stream interview I've had in a long time. That one had about 1,000 while we were live, and then afterwards we picked up another 6,500. That's pretty good. Hank Klopper's here. Hank, I couldn't think of your name the other day, man. I was having a brain fart. Hank. Couldn't think of it. Good to see you, Hank. Mark Purchase is back. Sean Mann is just trying to prepare for the upcoming food and fuel shortages. Yeah, well, we'll see if that does happen, but they're already trying to oppress us again. You can see it. Look what's happening in the UK. Elderly gentleman arrested. I didn't put on YouTube for fear of being censored on YouTube. I did put it on my Twitter account. An elderly gentleman, well, we presume he's elderly based on the statements, but arrested. There is, Nick is giving out 5 memberships. Thank you for that, Nick. Why is that not making sounds? It should have made a sound. I didn't hear that. That's odd. Okay, let me just see if that was turned off. Alert box. There it is. It's just slow. Ernst is a member. Thank you, Ernst. Werner Kruger's here. Mark Lawton and Peter Oberholzer. Yeah, there you go. People quietly in the background. You get exposed for watching the program when they give you gift memberships. Sean, well-deserved, long-time viewer, dedicated viewer, along with his parents. Fantastic, folks. Gosh, I want to go back down the garden route. Shouldn't I do that? Should I do the garden route again next time in South Africa? And there is Werner Kruger. Maybe Uppington and the garden route to be 2 differences next time. Ronaldo asked me to do a drive with him to one of the canyons, and we never did get around to that. He's so busy. Peter Oberholzer. That is a very German name, but Peter spelled incorrectly for Germans. It's a Dutch spelling. We are just pawns. Yeah, I think we are. There you go. Ansa. What's going on with Ansa? Prayers for Ansa. Is Ansa back? Is Ansa Duplessis? I haven't seen Ansa in a long time. What did Ansa say? You guys, oh, there she is. Sorry for not being around. Hospital. Oh, my goodness. Is Putin dead? No, not that I'm aware of. Is it being reported that he's dead? He hasn't been seen for a few days, but Putin. Let me see if there's any reporting on that. No. 4 hours ago, he called for a project to promote traditional Russian values. He's not dead. Ansa, colon cancer. My goodness, I am so... It's not really Ansa, it's Ansky. Is it Ansky? I'm trying to do it off our con style, but wow, colon cancer. Man, so sorry to see that. Don't apologize for not being here. Folks, you got to take care of your health. You got to take care of your income. You got to make sure... What the heck is that? Spot there. A little spot. What's that? There's a spot right next to my boob. Something on the shirt, dirty shirt. Should have caught that. Anyway, Ansa, my goodness, so sorry to hear that. I hope that you're recovering, and thank you for popping in the stream. Boy, I tell you, viewers of this program can be very dedicated. Remember a couple years ago, the Right Reverend Rawhide used to pop on here. The Right Reverend Rawhide had a stroke, was in hospital in the UK. We thought he was in South Africa. And he's on his mobile phone watching the program. That was dedication, man. Then we thought the worst because we hadn't heard from the Right Reverend Rawhide in donkey years. And then after my other channel came back, we discovered the Right Reverend Rawhide was in fact alive and well because he started commenting on the original channel because he saw that I was back. And he's like, oh, hey, you're still around. I'm like, yeah, I'm still around. I kind of thought you passed. And then when I'm in the UK, I find out that he's in the UK and only like 5 miles from where I was at. I went to visit a castle and he was only 5 miles away. I didn't know that till after I left. So the Right Reverend Rawhide is on the calendar to be someone to visit the next time I'm in the UK. I would like to get back to see Hendo again. That'd be nice. Maybe we could see Fiona so we can upset the eucalyptus tea drinkers. Please start addressing our media. It's time to hold the anti-terrorists. I assume you're talking to everybody here. I've been addressing the media quite a bit. Nice scenic area, few hidden gems. If you have a vehicle with decent road clearance, check out. Colonel, can you react to the Joseph Malema lecture clips that gave a Rhodes? I did on Twitter. I've reacted to it. I'll continue to react to it, and I'm going to talk about that here shortly. Oh, you beautiful racists. Oh, my goodness. All right. Officer waves incoming. Okay, there you go. Is that what you call an officer wave? Muriel Haynes, welcome, Muriel. Good to see you again. And, yeah, everyone's saying, if you have cancer, please look up, immunotherapy. Yeah, no, that's horrific. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, it's at its most basic level, cancer is your body betraying itself. It's your body attacking itself. It's unfortunate, but it happens, and we have not found a way to stop it from happening. Hopefully we'll figure it out. Kamala Harris's dodgy new VP choice is Tim Walz, the 41st governor of the great state of Minnesota. Yeah, Minnesota. So you were sleeping with the little fella up there in Brainerd. Yeah, for sure. Always sleeping with the little fella. Yeah. No, we met at the bar and we had a good time. Carlos is here. I miss Carlos. Good evening to you. All right, I think I've greeted everyone. So let's get to the news, folks. This backcrap crazy stuff going on in South Africa. And we're talking about this pastor Paseka Mboro and his nonsense. And so I went with an alternate website here because I liked the title that they came up with, and that is Goons. Pastor Mboro and his goons besiege a Khatalong primary school armed with pungas and a rifle. And that's exactly what they did. This guy is a wackadoodle. The Gauteng Education, Sports, Arts, and Culture Recreation MEC Matome Chiolone has strongly condemned an incident Monday. What do you mean condemn? Why don't you go arrest the guy? Well, apparently there have been 4 arrests. 3 armed men threatened teachers before grabbing 2 young boys and leaving with them. In a series of shocking videos that have gone viral, a well-known pastor, Paseka Mboro, has seen wielding a punga and threatening to attack teachers on the school premises. A man with an assault rifle is standing. There's no such thing as an assault rifle. It's an AK-47. Standing next to him while another is seen grabbing 2 learners. The department said in a statement that there had been a growing dispute between 2 families regarding the custody of 2 pupils enrolled in grade RR. What the heck is grade RR and grade 2? It is said that the mother of the children passed away in April this year, leading to a dispute between the paternal and maternal sides of the family. On the day of the incident, the father of the children had a meeting with the principal. Later in the day, the maternal grandmother, who is allegedly the guardian, also met with the principal, as well as to report and inform him about a conflict that occurred during a meeting. Wow. The deputy principal and staff members refused to release the children without the grandmother's permission, and so they abducted them. Children's Protection Unit is set to mediate the situation. Mediate? Go knock some heads. Don't mediate, knock some heads. Make some arrests. Pastor Mboro, believed to be among 4 arrested following the punga attack. Here why have they pixelated his face? They pixelated his face. That looks like Mboro. 4 suspects have been arrested after a group of punga-wielding men intimidated teachers. Well, they threatened them. That wasn't intimidate. They actually came at them with it. Yep, disturbingly, another man is seen grabbing 2 learners who are caught in the crossfire of this violent ordeal. Well, there's no crossfire. That's silly. That's a misuse of words. Boy, these journalists in South Africa really need some education. That's not a crossfire. And you can't even use that in a figurative sense. It does imply. How come Julius Malema's lectures Zimbabweans liberate themselves while he wants to do the same? This cronyism we went to. I have no idea what you're getting at, Daikano. No idea what you're getting at. I'll never figure out cancer. I don't know about that. Grade RR is 4 to 5-year-olds. Okay, why is it called RR? Is it remedial rest? What is RR? Well, this is what happened to Pastor Mboro's after his behavior. This is what happened. I'm going to show you here in just a moment. This is what happened after the kids were abducted yesterday. Today, this is what school learners did. Purportedly. Why is it the response of certain segments of society is always to commit violence, to destroy things? What is that all about? Why are certain people so predisposed to destroy things? I don't understand that. You can say it's cultural, but it runs across continents. Certain groups of people are just predisposed. Leftists primarily, but certain groups of people just predisposed to commit violence and do destruction. It's all about destruction. What is the deal here? Why do they behave this way? Yes, Clive, I reported on that murder yesterday. Unbelievable. So let's get back to this. Pastor Mboro's church torched in Nicklin. Disgruntled Nicklin residents set alight the church of controversial religious leader Pastor Mboro Motsaneng today. The church, known as the Incredible Happenings Church, located just behind the police station, was also looted before it was set alight. Some gathered outside the primary school, others met at the police station less than 100 meters away from the church. Bystanders looked on in shock as the church was set alight. And what did police do? Nothing. Firefighters from Ekurhuleni responded swiftly, arriving just minutes after flames had completely consumed the church, while a police helicopter hovered overhead in the aftermath. Remarkably, a few items were not touched by the fire, including a shack of caretaker uses, a fuel generator, mobile toilets, and some chairs. Isn't that funny? Yeah, this is the beginning of new things. Those who burnt our church have cursed themselves. Motsaneng is a nation builder. He buys the same children who burnt his church uniforms. He feeds them. He pays their tuition. Today, they have burnt his church. Oh, my goodness. That's church member Carol Mbata. And Mbata said that pupils arrived in 2 buses from various schools. They're allegedly used by the pastor's enemies. Ooh, this guy has always started trouble. He's gone to competing pastors' churches, threatening them, making claims about them. I said cut lahong. What are you talking about? What's wrong with me saying cut lahong? Many people eat grass, drink petrol, and have snake. That I didn't see. I said cut lahong. What is wrong with you guys? It's like Ronaldo telling me I mispronounced his name wrong. It's not wrong. I pronounced Ronaldo's name correctly. It's Renaldo goes. Isn't it? Gouws, goes. Okay. Ronaldo Gowls. Got so long. Well, now we get to the story that I kind of wanted to hear about. Juju Malema. He's on the warpath again. Desperate. Let me find out my TikTok. What did I say on Twitter? Not TikTok. I didn't put on Twitter. TikTok. Twitter. Let's see what I said. I'm going to read you my comments on Twitter. So go to my profile. Finally broke 1,800 views, by the way. Yeah. What the heck is this? That's not it. Come on. Where's it at? Where are my comments? I put that on Twitter. Oh, there we go. All right. Here we go. So, by the way, Julius Malema wants to rename Rhodes University to Steve Biko University. I have a better idea. Why don't we rename it Julius Malema instead of why don't we name Julius Malema Carl Nyhorst Jr. You know, instead of renaming Rhodes University, why don't we just rename Julius Malema? We can call him Carl Nyhorst Jr. Or just call him Little Carl. He could be a name rapper. Juju, introduced as Little Carl. It appears that once again it's time for the desperately seeking attention Malema to distract from his party's demise. With the EFF in terminal decline, Juju can't help but go to his tried and true race hustling repertoire. Yep. So he said, we're shocked that still 30 years after democracy, we have institutions like this one where it's supposed to be a stage for intellectual contestation, being named after the most brutal individuals who have made our lives pain and misery. And I took issue with that. Rhodes University is not named after the most brutal individual who made your lives miserable. That would be Shaka. And no, not Chaka Khan. I feel for you. No, it wasn't her, but King Shaka of the Zulu Empire. That's the guy that made life miserable for millions of people. So we need an airport after him in Durban. It's the King Shaka Airport. So why can't you have a university named Rhodes, given that the Rhodes Trust funded the damn place and started? Little Carlitos. Yeah, there you go. Little Carlitos. We'll call him Little Carlitos. Little Carlitos Nyhorst. Yeah, no water university. More like Little Cock Juju. Isn't Rhodes a private trust? Don't you think they can override the roundtable groups? Yep. Just helping, says Chris. Okay. If you show us the clip of SABC on YouTube, will it be copyright? Yeah, probably. You can only get up to like 7 seconds before you get in trouble. Did Mandela contribute when he added his name to the Rhodes Foundation? Good question, Sandy. Lots of black South Africans are part of the Rhodes Foundation. Yep. All right. So Juju wants to rename Rhodes University, desperately looking for attention. This twit goes to call for this. He was delivering a public lecture at the university Monday night. He said the university was named after Cecil John Rhodes, who he said was the most brutal colonizer. I disagree. Shaka was the most brutal. Malema described Rhodes as a racist, adding that he was an imperialist who will not have wanted you to be seated here today because he hated everything else that looked like us and treated us like slaves and animals. No, I would never treat you like a slave or an animal, just like the moron that you are. Malema said he was shocked that 30 years after this attainment of democracy, South Africa continued to have institutions meant to be a stage for intellectual contestation named after the most brutal individuals who have made our lives pain and misery. And I agree. Let's rename the King Shaka Airport to something more obtuse. He said Grahamstown has changed its name to Makanda. No, the corrupt ANC changed the name of Grahamstown, not Grahamstown. Grahamstown didn't change. The residents didn't do that. So why can't the university change its name to a better name? Because the university exists because it was funded by the Rhodes Trust. So fuck, you useless turd ball. Useless turd ball. Most racist imperialist. Again, are we talking about King Shaka or Cecil John Rhodes? Malema urges Rhodes University students to agitate for name change. I have a better idea. Let's rename Julius Malema Carl Nyhorst Jr. Little Carl. Hey, Juju's Little Carl. Of course it's a distraction, PK. It's also, look, you have to understand, the incredibly wealthy black supremacists who fund the EFF and fail to report those donations, committing crimes, those people, and there's white liberals in that crowd, those black supremacists, white liberals, and black racists are the ones that fund the EFF. They don't do it. It's like the Democratic donors. Yeah, Kamala Harris got $300 million. Not really. The Democratic campaign got $300 million, but that's because the Democratic donors on Wall Street and in corporate America held on to their donations. They refused to donate because Joe Biden was clearly going to lose the election. And they weren't going to throw $300 million away. So as soon as the first doorknob that could walk and chew gum, although I'm not sure she can do both simultaneously, the first doorknob that could replace the incompetent, demented, senile Joe Biden was announced, the money came pouring in. Money's been sitting in banks all along, waiting to give it to the Democratic committee. The same situation applies to the EFF. The EFF didn't get to 15%. They went down to 9.5%. All this money that they're getting from these black supremacist, white liberal, white supremacist, racist, they're holding on to it. The EFF is not getting funding that it needs anymore, the clandestine funding. So what does it do? He has to make himself relevant. So instead of talking about governance in Johannesburg, why isn't the EFF weighing in on the Al Jamaah mayor in Johannesburg? Ask yourself that. Why aren't they talking about that? They're not, because they don't care about that. All they care about is a gravy train so that Juju can wear Breitling watches, ride around on Land Cruisers, and fly over the world. And have nice $10,000 suits that nobody seems to give a crap about. Supposedly a man of the people has more money than Jesus. So of course he's going to Rhodes University to stir the racial hatred pot. Stir the racial hatred pot. That's what it's all about. Let's tell everybody that white people are inherently racist and no one else is racist, just white people. And they should all be punished for the crimes people committed centuries ago. Yep. 20,000 Rand shoes. Yep. Rheinmetall making an investment in South Africa. That's interesting. Rheinmetall to buy South African engineering firm to meet ammunition demand. Because we don't have enough ammunition for Ukraine, I guess. Germany's Rheinmetall is boosting its plant engineering business to meet growing demand for ammunition factories with an agreement to buy a majority stake in South African engineering firm Resonant Holdings for an undisclosed price. That's interesting. They'll own 51% of the new joint venture with current Resonant shareholders holding the remainder, the defense company said in a statement. Resonant has about 150 employees and will add expertise in building chemical and explosive plants with annual sales potential for the new company of more than 100 million euros. The war in Ukraine prompted a realization that among NATO members, including Germany and UK, that decades of defense cuts had left them unprepared for high-intensity conflict. That's resulted in a scramble to rebuild depleted ammunition stocks, with governments ordering billions of dollars of shells from Rheinmetall, BAE, and others. Wow. So that's good news for South Africa. Back in the arms business, despite the ANC's failures. Going to be in it. So why did a black people at the Pretoria High School for Girls get suspended? What's that all about? Well, that's because of the video that she had. We saw the video. Yep. A black pupil from Pretoria High School for Girls was suspended by the school's governing body last week for saying, among other things, that there's no time for feeling sorry for white peoples. That is the least controversial statement she made. This is, of course, News 24, Propaganda 24, trying to distort the story and misreport. She said, there's no time feeling sorry for white girls. Really? That's what you want to tell viewers. That's what you want to tell readers actually happened in the story. No, she threatened white students because they are white. She is a racist. And they use this story to attack the Kifness. Look, I'm not a big fan of the Kifness. His love affair with felines, cats, is really, that borders on the bizarre. And he refused me an interview when they weren't that big. So, whatever. They didn't want to come on my program. So, but they go on Ronaldo's program. They wouldn't go on my program. So, whatever. I'm not here to defend the Kifness. I certainly can't. They've got a few entertaining videos. But anyway, so back to that story. A short video of the Matrix People's Statements was posted by controversial musician and parody artist David Scott on X. In the video, the pupil says, guys, I've not asked for even a single white person to bow down. I haven't. We've just forgotten. Just get them off the hook this year because I think we're in the Matrix. And that's actually what was said in the video. But then the rest of this all seems to be about, they turned this story into a story about the Kifness. Now, the Kifness posted on Twitter, if you're a white girl at the same school sharing valid feelings about how black girls are treated differently in a private WhatsApp group, will get you suspended. The Department of Basic Education is actively encouraging black bullies to try and silence rational white girls. The more rational voices are silenced, the more they have power to take over. Just before the general elections in May, he was captioned for me, which way South Africa. And so that's the story becomes. The story becomes that. And so they consult CEO of Transformation Diversity Consultation Firm Diversity, who said, anyway, this is ridiculous. I'm not going to finish that story. That's Propaganda 24 silliness. Well, here's another Propaganda 24. Jacob Zuma just doesn't give up, does he? Zuma heads to the Constitutional Court to fight to privately prosecute Ramaphosa. What? Zuma has accused Ramaphosa of being an accessory after the fact to another private prosecution he was pursuing against Billy Downer and Karen Mon. Former President Jacob Zuma continues to hold out hope that the Constitutional Court will reverse the invalidation of his private prosecution against President Ramaphosa, despite multiple judges ruling that his case is baseless abuse of process. Oh my goodness. Where does Jay-Z get all this money for court cases? Where did they get all this money, man? It's absolutely crazy. Backcrap crazy. Well, let's turn our attention to something more interesting, folks. Springboks, Wallabies, Sasha Feinberg, Umzulu gets the nod at fly half. And we're excited. Wait a second. Why are we excited for Sasha Feinberg? Isn't he colored? Well, he's not really colored. He's mixed race, but that's not important. But aren't you racist? Why would you care to see black people succeed? Because you idiots don't know what you're talking about. I wish everyone well. That's a rational, cogent, lucid human being and not a bigot racist. Sasha Feinberg Ogunzulu starts at number 10 for the Bucks against the Wallabies. He'll get his first fly half start. Pretty exciting. He's come off the bench for the Springboks' first 4 test matches, but now he's making his debut as a starter, and that will be exciting. Congratulations. A very exciting team, by the way. Let me run through the list of who's on this team before we move on to the news. So, you've got Billy LaRue at fullback, Cheslin Colby on the right wing, Jesse Creel, Damien Delande team up in the center, Kurtley Arnsay on the left wing, and that's just brilliant. Those are 5 of the best players in the world right there. Sasha Feinberg, Umzula at fly half, Kobus Reinach at scrum half, Elric Lowe wearing the number 8 jersey, Peter Steph Dutoy 7, Sia Khaleesi's the captain wearing the 6 jersey. The locks are R.G. Snyman, although he had a little niggle, he might not start, and Eben Etzebeth. In the front row, it's Franz Malherbe, Bongi Ambanambi, and Oxen Che. That is a brilliant starting lineup. Off the bench, the bomb squad consists of Malcolm Marks, Gerhard Steenekamp, and Vincent Koch. Then you've got Ben Jason Dixon, the flexible guy to come either at the 6, 7, or 8 position or as a lock. And you've got Marco van Staden, Eskom, Quagga Smith. Grant Williams is the backup scrum half, and Henri Pollard sitting on the bench to start this game. I'm perfectly fine with that. All right, so Jay-Z has crapped loads since he never spent a single cent of his own money. Yeah, that's true. He didn't pay for Nkanla. Eating leaves knee-deep in water inside Sudan's man-made famine. Ladies and gentlemen, here is a clarion call. We're calling now. Let's ring the bells. ANC, ANC, ANC. Oh, I'm sorry, folks. The African National Congress swears that they care about the downtrodden, and they care about revolution, and they care about the oppression of majority black Africans, except that they're nowhere to be found in Sudan. No. That's in Africa, man. Sudan is in Africa. And I don't know. If you think black South Africans are black, you ain't seen nothing, folks. Have you ever met Sudanese, especially South Sudanese? Those folks really have some dark pigmentation. You don't get blacker than there. That's black. That's real black. That's serious black. Where's the ANC? 5.5 million people on the verge of starvation. Millions displaced. And where's the ANC? Oh, Israel is a genocidal state that's killing Palestinians indiscriminately. Oh, they kill. Really? You think after about a year of conflict, they could have wiped out about half of them if they were trying to kill them indiscriminately. But of course, the ANC is a fraud, a total fraud. Notice how they haven't talked about Palestine at all since the government of national unity has been formed. Did you notice that? Because they don't care about Palestine. It's about getting the money from the Iranians. Eating leaves, knee deep in water, inside Sudan's man-made famine. Zamzam displacement camp in Darfur is ground zero for countrywide starvation crisis. Every day, emaciated children are dying from lack of food, clean water, and medicine. And where's the ANC? These are the dystopian conditions inside the Zamzam displacement camp in Sudan's Darfur region, home to more than 500,000 people, and now site of the world's first confirmed famine since 2017. Zamzam and other displacement camps around the Darfur city of El Fasher, set up after the genocide in the early 2000s, are ground zero for a starvation crisis. Some 26 million Sudanese, about half the population, are suffering crisis levels of hunger, according to the Integrated Food Security Phase Classification, or IPC. Wow. The crisis is entirely man-made. Sudan's military has closed off all but one official border crossing into Darfur for imports of humanitarian aid, arguing that it needs to stop weapons from reaching its enemy. Wow. 26 million people hungry now. Not 5.5 million starving now, but 26 million people hunger. Where is the African National Congress? That's half the population of South Africa. Ooh, and they're all black. They're all Africans. Where is the ANC? Nowhere to be found. Because they're all frauds. Frauds. Well, 9 United Nations workers have been fired because they were part of the terrorists who committed human rights atrocities and crimes against humanity when they invaded Israel on October 7th. It took this long to fire them. Are you serious? Probe agency responsible for aid to Palestinians was ordered after Israeli employees allegedly joined the assault. What? 9 employees of the United Nations agency that for decades has provided schooling, healthcare, and other assistance to Palestinians were fired after investigation found that they had participated in the October 7th attack in Israel. Wow. For 9 people, the evidence was sufficient to conclude that they may have been involved in the 7th October attacks. The employment of these individuals will be terminated. Employment? How about prosecution, you morons? How about prosecution? Why they've been employed this long? Why weren't they suspended? There was prima facie evidence that they did it. You had photographs and video of these people doing it. Well, remember yesterday, folks, the world melted down. Do you remember that? Oh, my goodness. The sky is falling. Japan stock market. I reported on. Yeah, check it out. I reported objectively and honestly. The guy is falling. Well, today, things have turned around. The Nikkei, which lost 12% of its value in a single day yesterday, losing 4,451 points, today recovered, jumping back 10%. Wow, that's a huge change overnight. Japan's Nikkei jumps 10%, while the yen gives back some of its gains. There you go. Markets steadied today after Japan's Nikkei clawed back a chunk of the brutal losses from Monday's mayhem. The Standard & Poor's was gaining in afternoon trading a day after economic angst and the unraveling of crowded trades drove the benchmark index to its biggest drop since 2022. There you go. The broader market is recovering. The 3 major U.S. stock indexes rose 1% or more. There you go. And the Nikkei recouped much of its losses from yesterday. Exciting stuff. Joe Biden is fearful. Yeah, Joe Biden's vacation. His brain's on a vacation far away. Remember that one? We played that yesterday, did we? Did we play that? Let me see if I can find that again. That was fun, wasn't it? Did you guys enjoy that yesterday? I enjoyed it. Why do I got so many folders open here? All right, that's not what I'm looking for. No, it's this one here I'm looking for. Oh, that's not right. Where the heck's this thing at? Let me try this. See if it shows up that way. That's not it. Well, I got a lot of Joe Biden videos here. A lot of Joe Biden videos. Didn't realize I had that many of them. Now, you can't use Joe Biden and the brain in the same sentence, but you can if you're having fun. Let's see if it's here. Somebody's mowing out there again. I need to cut my grass. It's time. They did say they're still supporting Palestine, says. Okay. Well, good for them. But Joe Biden's meeting with the national security team, folks. He's concerned about Iran. Fears an Iranian attack on Israel grow. Hey, look at that. That's a pretty scary thought. There's Joe Biden and Kamala Harris sitting around a table with Anthony Blinken. What a bunch of collection of nincompoops. Total nincompoops. President Joe Biden met the senior national security team yesterday as concerns of a possible Iranian retaliatory attack on Israel grew. Biden said he'd been briefed on preparations to support Israel should be attacked if they're attacked. Tensions have risen over the last week following the assassination of the Hamas leader in Tehran. Joe Biden meet with the national security guys. Really? That's just crazy. Interesting. Anyway. In Bangladesh, people are calling for Muhammad Yunus to become the prime minister. They want him to lead the government. The Nobel laureate, the guy who invented microfinancing, the man who's been accused of all kinds of crimes recently. Muhammad Yunus is a top candidate. Known as the banker to the poor, is a choice of the student movement to head the new interim government. That's interesting. Key organizers of Bangladesh's student protests have said Nobel Prize laureate Muhammad Yunus should head an interim government after Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina resigned and fled the country. Nahid Islam, a 26-year-old sociology student who spearheaded the protest movement against quotas, said in a video post that Yunus had consented to take over. Wow, that's interesting. We want to see the process rolling by the morning. We urge the president to take steps as soon as possible to form an interim government headed by Dr. Yunus. Now, that is fascinating. The 84-year-old Muhammad Yunus, as the banker of the poor, he faced corruption accusations in Bangladesh, was put on trial during the previous prime minister reign, but maintained the charge against him were politically motivated. So is he going to be the prime minister, the 84-year-old Muhammad Yunus? That would be interesting. Microfinance, microlending. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's turn our attention to the United Kingdom, batshit crazy UK, where the media are only telling a partial story, claiming that the country is in flames because of right-wing extremists. Well, yeah, that's partly true, but the streets aren't safe because left-wing, well, also right-wing too, but right-wing Islamo-fascists are running around the country waving scimitars and weapons and beating white people up in the streets. So let's go cover the story. Rioting. Rioters carry out violent, racist attacks across several British cities. What happened and what comes next? Interesting. Riots have swept over Britain over recent days, and more outbreaks of far-right anti-immigrant violence are feared this week. No mention in the story about far-left, racist, anti-Christian, anti-white behavior. Also, people covering up the story about who did the murders of the 3 little girls and the other people he stabbed to death. Now, it was reported that this was an asylum seeker. Well, he wasn't an asylum seeker. He was born in Wales to Rwandan asylum seekers. And he murdered white children, stabbed little girls to death. That angle is not being talked about. Was it a racist attack? We don't know. It's not even an angle the press wants to address. They're not even talking about it. Certainly, if a white person had stabbed a bunch of black kids at a gathering, a party, that would be deemed a racist attack without even any information. But this attack isn't even questioned. Reports in some of the tabloids in the UK are the only place you can find the information. Killer unmasked. Southport attacker named as Axel Ruda Cubana after he's charged with murder of 3 kids at the Taylor Swift dance camp. So that's him. Now, that is Bebe King, 6 years old. She's no longer with us. She was stabbed to death. That was Elsie Stankum, who was 7. She's no longer with us. And there's Alice da Silva Aguiar, also murdered by this scumbag. Bebe King, 6, Elsie Stancombe, 7, and 9-year-old Alice da Silva Aguiar were knifed to death in the mass stabbing. 8 other children suffer stab wounds in the horror, with 5 in stable condition in hospital, along with 2 adults. Ruda Cubana rocked back and forth in the dock as he appeared in Liverpool Crown Court, charged with 3 counts of murder. He's also accused of 10 counts of attempted murder and possession of a bladed article, a curved kitchen knife. Prosecution said he had an autism spectrum disorder diagnosis. Okay. Wow, he'll be 18 in 6 days' time, so the court released his name, which is unusual. He was born in Cardiff to Rwandan parents. Here he is walking down the street. And there's the dance teacher, Leanne Lucas, who bravely used her body to shield kids. This is her colleague, Heidi Little, who locked kids in a toilet to protect them. And in response, Islamofascists have been in the streets waving scimitars and beating up white people with 2x4s and things like that. That's not being reported by the press. Now, Politico, EU version, runs an accurate, factual story. This is actual news reporting. Actual news reporting, folks. Let me show you what a news report actually looks like. What's happened, who's behind the violence, and how the UK has responded. Britain's on fire, and its new leader hopes to put the fires out by turning to his background as a lawyer. Yep. Britain has faced 6 days of noisy protests, many of which turned violent and targeted mosques and hostels housing asylum seekers. Starmer is fighting to regain control. So, and here he talks about the 3 girls who were murdered and 10 others injured. He said the 17-year-old male was arrested, later revealed he was born in Cardiff to parents from Rwanda. He has no known links to Islam. And they said it's unusual for people under the age of 18 to have their names released. He talks about a vigil here. Angry Islamophobic resentment that had long brewed across the UK came to the surface, and they also report that the group doesn't exist. Footage on social media appeared to show Muslim groups shouting Allahu Akbar as they clashed with rioters in Bolton. So this is an honest report. Wow, this is all over, folks. Middlesbrough, Rotherham in the Midlands, Tamworth, Manchester. Yep. And how organized is Britain's far right? Well, the parties are claiming that the British far right's responsible. There is no British far right. Yep, there is no such thing. So, relatively objective news report. That's news reporting. So the ex-police chief is an ass in the UK, and he's amping up this because he's anti-white. Neil Basu, in charge of counterterrorism at the Met from 2018 to 21. Yep. I think we've seen serious acts of violence designed to cause terror to a section of our community. Really? Like a knife-wielding black youth murdering little white girls? Isn't that terrorism too? Well, Kamala Harris has picked Tim Walz to be her running mate. She couldn't have picked the worst choice. It shows you how stupid she is. Vice President Harris has told allies she's chosen Minnesota Governor Tim Walz to be her running mate, opting for a former high school teacher and Midwestern demon rat to complete a newly assembled presidential ticket. Wow. Walz is scheduled to appear with Harris in coming days in the most competitive states of Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada. Yeah, well, couldn't have picked a worse candidate. And here we are. Here's Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota. Yeah. They're going to be in a Pennsylvania rally. I might go just so I can boo them. Oh, it's in Philadelphia. Never mind. See, that's dumb. That's just dumb. They're going to Philadelphia where they already have the vote secured. Instead of, God, these people in their lawnmower really drive me nuts. Well, the Secret Service says it disposed of the cocaine in the White House. Yep, after a report of infighting. The Secret Service said Monday it disposed of cocaine found last year. The White House responding to a report about alleged infighting on its fate following a partial DNA match. The evidence from that investigation was disposed of in accordance with retention policies. So you don't keep evidence for a year? That's service spokesman Anthony Guglielmi. Guglielmi did not state specific retention policy, but broadly dismissed as false allegations outlined by a trio of sources of Real Clear Politics, which reported that President Biden's then Secret Service Director, Kimberly Cheadle, wanted to destroy the cocaine, but faced internal opposition. Cheadle was really pissed off when her request was rebuffed by subordinates who cited protocols requiring the evidence be retained for 7 years. Well, there you go. That's normally how evidence is retained. 7 years. 3 sources connected to Secret Service told Real Clear Politics that DNA had been recovered from the half-used dime bag, allowing for a partial hit in a database after the drug was found 2 days after gathering the Biden family. Secret Service had closed the investigation just 11 days after the cocaine was found without interviewing any potential suspects. Wow. It's unclear what exactly the agency destroyed the small bag of cocaine, but the loss is likely to set its owner back less than $100. $100. Oh, my goodness. The protocol is whether you act on the DNA hit or not, we have to maintain evidence for a period of up to 7 years. And that is correct. You don't dispose of it after 1 year. So there's another cover-up. Well, was ousted Secret Service Chief Kimberly Cheadle responsible for it? Of course she was. Of course she was. Ousted Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle and other top officials wanted the cocaine discovered in the White House to be destroyed before further testing could take place. Real Clear Politics reported yesterday that multiple heated confrontations and disagreements occurred after the baggie of cocaine found in the West Wing locker. Yep. Wow. This wackadoodle. Look, there's the cocaine. There they found it in a locker. Dime bag size. Wow. We know who that belongs to. Well, folks, the cost of energy is skyrocketing. You think it's bad in South Africa where you're paying a lot of money to Eskom? You got nothing in California. Nothing in California. And my $9 electric bill this month, plus the $95, $97 I have to pay for the solar panels per month, that's nothing compared to what these people pay. They are getting fleeced because of the ridiculous policies in California. So, in California, as a result of utilities going to alternative energy, resident Jessica Simpson-Nair, no, she's not Jessica Simpson, the performer, but Jessica Simpson-Nair lives in Borrego Springs near San Diego. Her electricity bill in June was $1,873.90. $1,873 for electricity in 1 month. 1 month. $1,873 times 19. That is 35,587 Rand for electricity. That is larger than her rent, which is $1,200. That is 50% larger than her rent. Now, the grocery store owner who's there, Roger Gukwa, said he tried cutting his power bill by raising the thermometer in his store to 85 degrees so the air conditioning didn't come on. But with the thermometer at 85 degrees Fahrenheit, the chocolate in his store melted. Wow. Unbelievable. Now, of course, the California, here's Borrego Springs. Let me show you that real quick. Borrego Springs in California, near San Diego. Now, California has encouraged, fostered the employment of solar photovoltaic on people's residential, and you were promised they would buy electricity back, but there's so much residential solar photovoltaic panels in California that they overproduce electricity during the daytime, and it all goes to waste. They bleed it off. The energy is wasted because they have no storage for it, because the morons that run California weren't bright enough to realize what damage they were going to cause here. So, in Borrego Streams, a desert town of 3,000, temperatures often top 110 degrees Fahrenheit. That's almost 50 degrees Celsius in summer, and air conditioners run nonstop. The town's primary utility, San Diego Gas and Electric, has raised electricity rates 82% in the past decade. And utilities around the country, 3 consecutive years have asked for record increases, utilities in America, for electricity because of this green energy bullshit. Yep. On a June day, 2 of Desert Pantry, this is a shop there, okay, Desert Pantry's entrances were closed to save energy, and signs on the freezer reminding customers not to leave the doors open. Still, the grocery store's bill has averaged $8,000 a month. He pays $9,500 a month in rent for his grocery store, but his bill for electricity is $8,000 a month for a small grocery store. That is a total of 152,000 Rand per month for electricity. Well, the reason why the rate's gone up is because of the move to electric cars and all the rules that they've got out there. It's ridiculous. Now, we're not talking about a Pick and Pay, a Checkers, a ShopRite. This is what this guy's grocery store looks like. It's a mom and pop operation. Look at that. That's his grocery store. And his electricity bill is 152,000 Rand per month. That's insane. Wow. Unbelievable. So let me get you the figures on how much has been cut off. So Utilities across the U.S. have asked for $18 billion in rate hikes this year. $18 billion they want to take out of our pockets for electricity, which costs more because of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. They've already doubled our electricity here in Pennsylvania in the past 2 years. And these utilities around the country are asking for a record $18 billion more to fleece consumers for. It's the third straight year that they've had record requests because they can't just raise the rates. They have to get approval from commissions in each state. Wow. For the past 12 months, the price of electricity nationally has risen at nearly double the rate of consumer prices overall. To pretend that the world will electrify without spending money is kind of like Alice in Wonderland, said Ahmad Fakhour, California-based energy economist. California now has so much electricity during the daytime in some months because of the growing portfolio of solar photovoltaic panels on roofs that the grid's turning away 840,000 megawatt hours in April alone. Ladies and gentlemen, 840,000 megawatt hours. It's 84 gigawatts. 84 gigawatts of electricity. That is 2.5 times the entire generating capacity of South Africa in California was wasted in April alone because they have no storage, because they're morons. That's enough power to provide all the electricity to 930,000 homes for 1 month. Wow. Wow. Unbelievable. But this is what's going on. The green energy revolution, because morons are responsible for it. They don't know what they're doing. And they lie because they're just stupid and they believe the green energy wave. Oh, Greta Thunberg. She's such a lovely autistic child. Oh, you destroyed the world. No, you morons are destroying the world and driving us all into serfdom, stealing our life savings. Unbelievable. 840,000, not watts, megawatts in 1 month. Not even summertime. That's April. That's not even June, July, August, September, when the sun really comes. You destroy the world. No, morons like you, promoted by leftist media and fake media outlets and fake politicians who don't know their bum hole from a hole in the ground, are destroying the world. Climate czars like John Kerry destroying the world. Unbelievable. Slippery Pickle says 36% increase for me next year. So bad but that's what they want. What's to happen here? Yep. It is bad, Muriel. This is what happens when the vote is stolen. Yep. Gotcha, Muriel. Here in South Africa, we have to have solar and JoJo tanks just get by. That's after we pay exorbitant rates and taxes, not even to talk about the fact that we have to go to dump our own rubbish. Yep. Well, we pay privately for rubbish removal here. The state's not involved. The state shouldn't be involved. But it is our fault, Maryland. It's terrible. More people die every year from production and installation of solar than all the nuclear accidents ever combined. True. True that. People can't afford to eat. No, you cannot do a conversation. She earns in dollars and pays in dollars. What? A conversion. Oh. We earn rent and rent. I pay $8,000. Yeah, no. Okay, Chris, we can do that. We can do that. I mean, $1,800 is more than most people make just for electricity. So we can do that conversion based on a percentage. You can convert, you can compare. You can take cost of living. And I'm telling you that the electricity in California is through the roof. It's more expensive, more dear than it is in South Africa. The yardstick for measuring the cost of electricity is the cost in cents per kilowatt hour. Let's see what the cost of electricity is in cents per kilowatt hour. Okay. Cost of electricity per kilowatt hour. Okay. Okay. The average cost in America is 14.37 cents right now. The average monthly electricity bill is $121. Average monthly energy use in Pennsylvania is 846 kilowatts per month. Electricity rates. Let's see if it gives me one for South Africa. Yes, it does, because I've looked that up before. It's been a while. All right. So, seriously? Oh, my goodness. Okay. So, as I said, the average cost of kilowatt hour here in Pennsylvania, 14.38 cents, okay? In South Africa, where's it at? Give me the price. You're paying, I won't go prepaid, I'll go conventional, okay? You're paying 3.48 Rand per kilowatt hour. Okay, let's see what that is. So, I mean this. How am I going to do this? 19 Rand to the dollar. So a dollar would be 19. And then 9.5 would be 50 cents. So you are paying a lot. You're paying 30 cents. You're paying double what I'm paying. What do they say California's rate is? California's average is 19 cents. So you're paying about what they pay in California per kilowatt hour. Yep, okay, so it comes about the same. You 241 kilowatts from our pay-as-you-go for 1,000 Rand as opposed to 302 kilowatts. Just insane. They're getting it up front. Yeah, it's crazy. 82%. Okay, I already covered that. That pic looks like such a setup. Very crappy that governments use and abuse young men to later discard. Well, yeah, that's how they behave. Yeah, destruction of evidence. Yeah, I mean, I think you're right about the cocaine. Any group standing its own ground in the UK is considered right-wing. Exactly. Angus Roy McBean, welcome to you. Welcome to you. Uncle was a recce, and he scared the crap out of me. He slept with an army knife under his pillow. Yeah, that's pretty scary. Who the F is Tim Walz? No, he's pro-LGBTQ. That's correct. I don't know if he's gay. Why don't you run as VP? Yeah, I guess I'd probably get arrested for homicide. Probably knock her off. What is sad is soldiers turning from killing and being turned into murderers and abusing families. I don't see a lot of that. Abuse, you see that, but that's not because of conflict. No mention of the destructive riots response to the arrest of the attacker. Nope, Congo, Chris, they don't respond. That's why I cover both sides. Congrats to Caroline Marks for winning the women's surfing and taking the U.S. to the top of the medal standings. Are we back up there, Giuseppe? The Chi-Coms were ahead of us earlier. They had 22 gold medals, and we had 21. Yep, they're still ahead of us because they base it on gold medals. So we have 21. But congrats, that's fantastic. A lot of the interesting events are already over, but the U.S. got 28 swimming medals. That's insane. It's insane. We have 79 medals in total, so we better get moving if we want to get to 100. Yep. So anyway, that's still going strong. Okay. What else? Icona says, I know your view of Masisi, but a lot of people say that Khan himself was more of an authoritarian president. Name the journalist that he arrested. There was a journalist arrested, but the journalist arrested not by Kama, but by the authorities for committing crimes. So Kama was considered authoritarian. Well, that's fake media. I lived in Botswana. I worked in the government enclave. I interacted with President Kama and members of parliament almost daily, a few times a week. I can tell you that he wasn't authoritarian. That's a lie. That is a lie propagated and perpetuated by lazy BDP politicians who had no discipline. And Kama expected meetings to start on time and for people to be where they were supposed to be on time. Ian Kama regarded a politician showing up late to a political event to be disrespectful to his constituents or her constituents, and he punished them for that. That's not authoritarian. That's holding people to a standard. Ian Kama held people to a standard, something Masisi doesn't do. Ian Kama was not an authoritarian president. That's a lie that was perpetrated ever since he became the president. They never claimed he was an authoritarian vice president. They never claimed he was an authoritarian commander of the Botswana Defense Force. Only when he became president and they didn't like him because he led Botswana effectively and legitimately and honestly, then they tried this bullshit about, well, he's an authoritarian. He's a military guy. I'm a military guy. I'm not an authoritarian. I was nearly a general, a colonel. That's as close as you can get to being a general. I'm not authoritarian. That's just bullshit by penis envy, sad, pathetic losers who couldn't compete and hold a candle to Ian Khama's governance. And that's the bottom line. His governance was great. Yep. Even former President Festus Mogai said it was a mistake for Ian Khama being a successor. Yeah, well, Festus Mogai became captured. He became captured. It wasn't a mistake. See, the problem, which you have to understand, is you have to understand the Botswana Democratic Party. You have to understand the incestuous relationship. And you also have to be honest and admit that Botswana, despite ranking very high consistently until recently on Transparency International's corruption index, I mean high as in being not corrupt, the Botswana Democratic Party is thoroughly corrupt and always has been. Oh, no, that's not true. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Remember Chilema? Remember Chilema? The dude that owns so much land. You know where the Botswana Diamond Sorting Center is built out near the airport? Airport Junction, all that housing, that shopping area. Who owned all that land? Chilema did. How did he get the land? He wasn't even in Botswana. How did Dada get the government to pass legislation that banned the importation of used cars so that Dada could become nearly a billionaire? The BDP, the corrupt BDP. That's how it happened. See, this is the problem. If you lift the bonnet and look underneath, it's not pretty. Botswana is full of corrupt politicians, and they've covered each other's asses for 50 years. That doesn't mean the country's corrupt. It doesn't mean that most things that happen in Botswana aren't honest. But the corruption is not the kind of corruption we see where cops shake people down or politicians or, mafia construction gangs shake people down. That's not the corruption we're talking about. We're talking about politicians, self-enrichment with access to power and favoring their friends. That's been going on in the BDP for 50 years. And Masisi is part and parcel of that, according to many. I have no evidence of that. All I have evidence is he's a deuce. I know he's an idiot. But yeah, so there you go. Khama was not authoritarian. Khama was effective. And that's why they lied about him. That's why they continue to lie about Khama. And then they try to dig up stuff. Oh, his family's, camp in Okavango. They're corrupt. Bullshit. Bullshit. Just lies. Just lies. Is Icano still here? Oh, he is. If you want me to die for your dumbass, I'm not aboard, says BK. I don't want you to die for anything, man. Apparently, the British and Irish Lions are taking on Argentina in Dublin next year. Really? That's an unusual thing. I wonder. Wow, that'd be kind of cool to go to, Matthew. Are you just making it up, Matthew, or is that true? That'd be cool. Dublin's fun. Dublin would be fun. It's not that great, but it's fun. Because he wasn't captured, he's labeled also. Exactly. Ian Khama was not captured, and that's why he's a target. Look, folks, governments are corrupt. They've always been corrupt. In one way or another, they're corrupt. There are honest politicians, but there aren't many of them. And when honest politicians are involved, look, I know how this works. I got elected commander of the VFW. I didn't want the position. I didn't lobby for it. I didn't ask for it. But because I'm an adult and I can chew gum and walk and I'm honest, they asked me to do it. Then they elected me to do it. Even though I said no. And what happened? Suddenly I went from the guy that people said nice things about to people who've never accomplished anything in their life running around town lying about me and undermining my political campaign to get me defeated because their feelings were hurt because I kicked people who were being disrespectful. I didn't kick. The post kicked people out. And they lie about me. And that's what happens. That's what happens to successful, honest, good people. You get attacked. That's what happens. Well, I did like Ian Khama's attitude towards Zimbabwe, unlike Masisi, who says nothing and even deflects. No, Masisi is in league with Mnangagwa. Yeah, part and parcel, same crowd. Masisi is a disaster. He's the worst president in the history of Botswana. Absolutely, no doubt about it. Ian Khama was a fantastic president. What never gets mentioned, and I've mentioned this multiple times in this program, and I mentioned it in the diplomatic community all over Africa every time we talked about Botswana, and I told people, I said, Botswana, so dependent on minerals, and especially diamonds, could have collapsed economically in 2009. But Kamala became president at that time. And what did he do? He took a rational approach to what's going on. They borrowed $2 billion from the international community at preferential interest rates because their credit worthiness was fantastic. So they had a reserve. They had a rainy day fund of a few $1 billion. And rather than drain all their funds out because they didn't know how long this thing was going to last, because overnight diamond sales were gone. 80% of Botswana's foreign revenue, foreign currency, disappeared overnight. Overnight, literally, from one day to the next. So what did they do? They borrowed $2 billion because they had good credit. They were fiscally responsible. They delayed capital projects, something we never do here. Perfect example. The Botswana Defense Force was supposed to build a staff college, right? It was in the budget. It was approved. Global financial crisis. Diamond sales out the window. No money coming in. The BDF delays. They didn't have Ministry of Defense. They just created one. Delays the construction. Puts it off. Doesn't put a tender out. They wait. So what do? They go rent a disused primary school in Block 8, a disused primary school out near the airport. And that's where they held their staff college the first 2 years they had it. Until diamonds started being bought again, revenue came back in, tax revenue, royalties from Botswana and De Beers, and the money came back into the government. And then they allocated the money and they approved the tender to go build the defense college. And they built it at SSKB, Sir Seretse Khama Barracks. Now that is good stewardship of resources. That's just one example. Khama saved Botswana from imploding. If it hadn't been for Ian Khama leading Botswana in 2009, Botswana would have been fleeing to South Africa hungry. Fact. Fact. What journalist tells you that? What analyst tells you that? Who's ever told you that story before? Has anyone ever told you that story? Anybody other than me? I doubt it. Exactly, Marilyn. As soon as they attack someone, guys, and that's why I liked the whole thing with Richard Wilkinson yesterday or Sunday. That was brilliant. I had no idea that the wackadoodle who's in love with me wants a date, and by the way, I'm not interested in dating you, that wants to date me, had contacted him and said, you shouldn't go on the program. I didn't know that. And he was taken aback. A racist, a white supremacist. What? He called Africans what? Really? So Richard Wilkinson, instead of being a coward like that woman in Mossel Bay was, said, wait a second, it doesn't make any sense. I talked to this guy. Let me look at his content. So he looked at my content. There's nothing there offensive. So he called some people in South Africa, known people, mentioned by name, all of whom spoke very highly of me. Thank you, those people that did that. I appreciate that. And the cancel culture didn't work. So when that didn't happen, anyway, so that's what you should do. Don't believe the bullshit when people tell you the stuff. I don't believe Julius Malema is a racist because people tell me he's a racist. Actually, I don't even think he is a racist. I think he's an opportunist. Opportunist who sees the issue of race hustling as a way to get money and fame. That's what I believe. Yep, CC is right. Now stealing the new De Beers, right? I mean, that's what it comes from. I'm not sure what you mean by that statement. What I do know is that the BDP is lying about the De Beers thing and the media are buying it. Oh, it's unfair, Botswana. Okay, first off, De Beers and Botswana sell the diamonds, right? It's a 50-50 split of revenue. They both give 50%. So the government of Botswana owns 50% of De Beers, of Botswana. They get 50% of diamond revenue off the top. Now they built a diamond sorting center there. They get 85% of the revenue from the diamond sorting center. That's 85%. So De Beers only gets half the revenue to begin with, but they're losing 85% of the higher value revenue, and they want more. Plus, there's taxes and royalties paid on top of that. It's all lies. It's all lies. Okay, so Khama's establishment of the Director of Intelligence and Security Services was a smart and great move. Is it still competent, Colonel? I disagree. I disagree slightly, Icono. Let me be clear about that. This was necessary and due. The appointment of Kossi to be the head of that was a disaster. The guy that Ian Khama put in there, it was kind of like Donald Trump. He had a blind spot for people who worked for him and he trusted. That guy was a disaster. The head of DIS was a big mistake. The Director of Intelligence Security Services in Botswana was created when I was there, and it was necessary. And the reason it was necessary is because there was no intelligence service for Botswana. There are threats from Zimbabwe. There were threats from South Africa. There are threats cross-border from Namibia in the Caprivi. And it was necessary to create such an organization to provide intelligence to the president and to the government so they understand what's going on. Even if you have no enemies, you need people who are doing analysis to be intelligence for you. So up to that point, from 1966 until 2008, there was no National Intelligence Agency for Botswana. The Army intelligence, with about 100 people, did it for the president. Only the president. Parliament had no intelligence apparatus. They weren't well informed. See, intelligence people don't just point out enemies and terrorists. They also talk about other threats like weather, drought, climate change, and other things. One of my most famous presidential data briefs was about a famine, potential famine. That's what intelligence professionals do. They also tell you about economic threats, economic espionage, industrial espionage, and they keep you informed. They analyze that stuff. So you need an intelligence service. Botswana didn't have one. And unfortunately for the Botswana Defense Force, when I came there, they had asked me for some training courses for their intelligence personnel. But they kept asking for so many courses. I'm like, stop. Your general is not going to allow all these intelligence people to go to all these courses, eating up 85% of your training budget. You've got infantry, you've got armor, you've got logistics people who do training. They're going to get the bulk of the training, not you. I said, besides, you don't want all this training. And they looked at me like I was crazy. What do you mean you don't want all this training? I said, what you really want is to design an intelligence enterprise, and you would like somebody to get you the requisite training so you can develop your own training program and have qualified instructors here. And almost to a man, they're like, yeah, we want one of those. And that's how I went forward with redesigning the Botswana intelligence enterprise and creating a system that worked for them. And I used my expertise and experience and could contact U.S. Africa Command. They bought into the concept, and we cleared it through the intelligence community, and we did it. And the first course we ran, all of our people were there. They had no instructors. The second course, they identified talented people who had the ability to teach, who were graduates of the program and the intelligence service, which was very small. Those people were handpicked. They became the instructors and they co-instructed. And the next time, we sent people there as observers. On the third round, within a year and a half, they were running the programs themselves successfully. And we backed out. And we didn't have to train. Teach a man to fish. Teach a man to fish. Don't give him a fish. Teach him to fish. That's what we did. That's what we did. Juju's actually done all of us a huge favor. He rushed South Africa's race relations years past the rest, or we would caught up in the BS now. Maybe it would have been better if Botswana had a government like a PM, so Ian Khama could still be in government. No, I don't think so. Ian Khama should not still be in government. He served his time. He served honorably, and he served Botswana well. There is a good reason why term limits are there, and a presidential system is far more effective than a parliamentary system. Being able to unseat the prime minister at any time on a whim and force people to go back to vote is ludicrous. But that's how Europe functions. By and large, that's how South Africa functions. How will they produce clean energy? What alternatives to batteries will they invent? It's all a big scam. Hike up taxes. Yeah. Rose Brits will always call it Twickenham. Yeah, well, I mean, I still call it Camden Yards. The official name is Oriole Park at Camden Yards. But most of us call it Camden Yards because it was the Camden Yards for the rail yards. That's what that big warehouse was, and the stuff came in on the train, was offloaded there, stored there. And so when they built the stadium there to replace Memorial Stadium, which was in a terrible spot in the northeast part of town, nowhere near anything, in a very poor neighborhood. Well, poor neighborhood, not very poor. They built Camden Yards in the Inner Harbor, and they built it at Camden Yards. And the Orioles wanted to call it Oriole Park. Well, we want to call it Camden Yards. So the official name is Oriole Park at Camden Yards. But none of us call it Oriole Park. We call it Camden Yards. Same thing. Twickenham will be called Twickenham into perpetuity by people. And Fort Bragg will be Fort Bragg into perpetuity. You can try their nonsense, but Fort Bragg is Fort Bragg. Anyway, time to appoint, what's this? What did I miss? South African intelligence has been hijacked by Pandora's box for Iran. Okay, there's video evidence of Ukraine dragging people to go right and fight. Oh, yeah. No, I've seen that. Right. I've talked about people being drugged off the streets. Yep. Will he use any means possible to make money for himself? Correctly, Charles. Yes, Sue Walz are renaming Twickenham to Allianz. So many Brits are mad about this, but apparently it's due to money. Well, yeah, of course. It's exactly about money. The same reason why it's Snapdragon Stadium in San Diego. same reason why it's Tropicana Field in Miami. It's the Allianz Arena in Munich because Allianz sponsors it. They've got 11 stadiums around the world that they sponsor. Now they're going to sponsor Twickenham, and they're going to pour a bunch of money in there. So yeah, I don't have a problem with it. It should be the Allianz Arena at Twickenham. I don't have a problem with it. I'm not British. Twickenham, the stadium is in a horrific spot. What moron decided to build a stadium there with all those? You can't even get to the stadium. Every time I go to Twickenham, it's such rectal bleeding. I mean, it really is. It really is. You have to take the damn train in, and then you have to take a bus in, and then when you leave, there's no buses. You have to walk back 2 miles. It's really annoying. PE will stay PE into perpetuity. Yep. I include Sleepy Joe in my above statement. Usefulness expired, says Maryland. I didn't see your above statement. Yeah, Arctic says, Walz says, VP, thanks. Momola crash. Yep, she made a dumb decision there. She made a really dumb decision. Maryland says, as soon as they tear... Yeah, exactly. As soon as they tear into someone. Yeah. 100 million pounds. Is that what they're going to get? That's crazy. I didn't see that it was that much. That's an absolutely crazy amount of money. Wow. What about Mali stripping off diplomatic ties with Ukraine? That doesn't matter. What ties do they have? What ties do Ukraine and Mali have? Look at how pink my face is, man. Look at my arm compared to my face. Rosea. It's terrible. I didn't have this affliction before COVID scam. Wow. Yeah, I don't know. Krugelsdorp will still be Krugelsdorp. Brock Pond will be Brocky's Pond. Yep, there you go. Anyway, I like Loftus. Well, Chris, there is a distinction, okay? There is a distinction. So when the ANC corrupted local governments and ensured that there be no opposition parties ever getting any experience in government by creating fictional municipalities and absorbing every town around them to have just a handful of large municipalities, when they did that, Schwane is not Pretoria. Pretoria is inside Schwane. So that's the difference there. Schwane municipality is far larger than Pretoria ever was. Just like the Joburg municipality is far larger than Joburg ever was. And Ekurhuleni is the same thing. So, yes, there is a Schwane. It's not Pretoria. Pretoria is still there. And as far as PWV, that was ludicrous. They didn't know what to call Gauteng. I don't have a problem with Gauteng. It means place of gold, and that's what the High Veld is. It's place of gold. So I don't have a problem with that name. It's not the Transvaal. It's not the Free State. It's not PWV. So the PWV was for Pretoria Witwatersrand, if I remember correctly. So let me see what's going on with something real quick, if anybody's watched the video, because a lot of you are here, so I don't know how many viewers will have watched my other video. Not many, 149, so it hasn't really caught on. Maybe you guys can all go watch that video after this. 235 after an hour. That's kind of sucky. Hour and a half. That's not many. Wow. I thought a lot of people want to hear about that Pastor Mboro. Apparently not. So, my Roman Kabanak video is still picking up a few views. It slowed down. Again, 18 subscribers from that's pretty cool. So thank you for that. That's awesome, those who did it. And then the live has kind of died off, the one with Richard Wilkinson. But tomorrow we got Camp Pile. So hopefully I'll get a confirmation what time and I'll post that. Yeah, let me see. You know, this whole thing is messed up. Here it says 6,200. There it says 6,486. And then back on the, let me see if it's reloaded. No, it still says 6,200. If I come back here, it says the total is 7,600. YouTube is screwing with me on that video. They're trying to hide it. It's crazy. 435 likes on it. Thanks for that, folks. And they claim that I got 40 subscribers from it. So thanks for that. Do appreciate it. Yep, awesome. Anyway, back to this. So, electric cars will die out soon. Yeah, that isn't going to last. All right. Anyway. Okay, guys. I'm going to wrap it up here. Schwane includes Pretoria, Centurion, Hammanskraal, Cullinan, Mamelodian. Exactly, Arctic. That's what I'm saying. It's bigger than Pretoria. Pretoria is part of it. I think that gets lost on people. So I just want to make that clear distinction, okay? All right. Thank you all for being here. Tomorrow, tune in for the inaugural debut of Iconic with Canthan and Chris. All right? Cool. All right? Catch you later. Thanks a lot, everybody. Touch some grass. Does that mean score a try? Thank you all. God bless. Have a good evening. Be sure to hit the like button if you don't mind. Thank you for the super chats. Oh, there were none. But thank you for the new members. Woo, what's that? I get copyright claims on that, even though that's public domain music. That wasn't what I meant to do. I meant to do this one. Come on, here it is.